Hey guys, Brian Castro here from Better Chess Trading, and in today's video, I share 6 tips to improve your tactics training. First off, just wanted to show you the journey here in 2018, and this is on chess.com's tactical trainer. And when you look up your rating, you can see my rating is currently 2340, which is I think higher than many players. Although if you look at masters and grandmasters, you'll see that theirs are usually 2500 plus. But in my own talking to friends and looking at other players and their tactics ratings. If you get it over 2000, you're fairly proficient with tactics. If you get it over 2200, you're pretty good. And you can see I'm improving. Now, not saying that I don't make tactical mistakes in my games, but this improvement has really helped in a lot of my games because I don't make as many blunders and I often punish my opponents who make tactical errors. Now, there's a lot of aspects to chess that we still need to improve, but I just wanted to show you here where we went from. So let me just look at this graph real quick. If we look down here at the start, and again, I'm not sure when this is, there's a big lull here, and this might correspond with earlier this year where I had several months where I did not study chess at all. So that would be around the middle of the year, around June. So we could see 2162, and then we steadily go up here. As you can see, it's fairly, some ups and downs, but you can see here right around here, which is right around Thanksgiving, I break the 2300 barrier, and then steady doing daily practice. I'm currently at 2340. Now, I want to share with you some of the changes that I made from earlier this year. Well, obviously I didn't like you can see from the flat line. I didn't train for a while, and then I made a steady improvement. But I made some specific changes that I want to share with you today. Okay, the first major change that I made in doing tactics was I really controlled my environment that I was solving the tactics problems. And again, this is specifically talking about how I improve my chess tactics rating, but hopefully you can make that jump that any chess tactics program that you do, you can apply these techniques, and also that skill and development that you have in your solving tactics problems will carry over to your games, or at least that's what I've found. So, what do I mean by this? First off, I used to just do tactics whenever I had some free time. So I had my app on my phone, and if I was at work, I would take a little 5 minute break, or while I was watching TV, I would do tactics. So this first step may seem kind of obvious, but it's something that's important. So what did I do? I took off the chess.com app from my phone. Um, and I also told myself that I was not going to do tactics when someone else was in the room. So sometimes I have 3 children, and sometimes they'll ask me questions or they'll run around. So it can be distracting. So I told myself, I made a rule, no tactics when anyone else is in the room. So I usually do my tactics early in the morning before everybody else wakes up. Also, turned off the television, especially on these tactics problems, like on chess.com, the time that it takes to solve the problem is important. And again, that is a very important aspect in measuring your tactics skill is the timer, because if you had unlimited time, of course you can solve almost any tactics problem, but the timer helps to measure your fluency with the tactics. Okay, so controlling your environment, make sure you don't have any distractions, and uh, also make sure it's at a time that you're alert. So, maybe when you're tired going to bed, maybe not the best time. Again, there's a difference between, you can, of course, chess is to enjoy, so do it whenever you want to do it. But if it's trying to learn and improve your skill, you want to make it like a game-like situation. So that'll go on to our next tip, but control your environment and it'll help you improve your tactics. Step number 2 is controlling your mindset. Okay, and there's a few aspects to this. First, I want you to when you're doing your tactics, think of it as if you're in a game, okay, a chess match, okay, and you're they're at a tournament or you're playing online in a league, but the importance of taking it seriously as if you were in a game is important because I think what will happen a lot of times is when you're solving problems, at least in my own experience, is that it's like, oh, it's just a tactics problem. I think it's this. Let me just guess. But if you're in a tournament game, especially in those later rounds when placements might matter, you will take your time. You're not just going to guess. So that is the first part of mindset. The second one is aspect called mindfulness, and that means being in the moment. So a lot of you do a lot of tactics. I've talked with a lot of you, and you'll do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 tactics a day, and that's great. But I want you to focus on the one that's right in front of you. So if you're on tactic number 4 out of your 50, I don't want you to think of the other 46 that you're going to have to complete. I want you to stay focused on just the one. So that's mindfulness, be in the moment. Okay, and the second one is to have a positive mindset about your tactics. Okay, so even if your tactics rating is 500 and you want to improve it to 1,000, or it's at 1,000 and you want to improve it to 1,500, I want you to stay positive about your training. Every problem that you do is going to strengthen it. Okay, every time you sit down to do your tactics, you're going to get better at it. So even if if you saw on that graph, you saw that it wasn't a straight up line. I had some dips in there too. So some days I would, make, I would typically do 5 problems on chess.com and then I would do other tactics, which I'll talk about in the next section. But, I get problems wrong and, but I stay positive because I know every time I learn from it and every time I do it, it's like a muscle. You strengthen it. Every time you exercise the muscle, it gets stronger. Okay, so think about your mindset as you're doing your chess tactics. Okay, the third thing that I did to really improve my tactics is I rebuilt my foundation. So as many of you know, a few months ago I started to uh, do some tactics problems on Chessable and use some of their ebooks, specifically 1001 chess exercises for beginners and the more recently the woodpecker method. And what this did was it gave me a foundation of tactical motifs and tools. And you can see here, this is just the chapters for 1001 chess exercises for beginners. So, mates in 1, mates in 2, double attack, discovered check, double check, pin. You can see here skewer, deflection, decoy sacrifice, promotion, drawing tactics. Okay, all of these are now part of my arsenal. Okay, now, do I see it every single time? Of course not. I'm human, but the idea is I am familiar with all of these tools. Okay, a lot of times if I'm playing someone and they fall to a tactic, and I'm chatting with them afterwards, they'll say something like, "Oh, I've never seen that before. Oh, I didn't realize that was there, or I didn't consider that." It means that they haven't practiced it enough. Okay, and so building that foundation, and yes, you are learning these things as you're doing your chess servers with chess.com or chess tempo, but having a course or a book that has comprehensive themes, I think is a great way to go. I mentioned that in other tactics videos as well. But so what I did was I rebuilt that foundation, make sure I had those down. And then now in my problems, I can say, oh, this is a trapping a piece problem, for example. Or, oh, this is a destructive sacrifice where I'm sacrificing pieces around the opponent's king. So by having those tools in my mind, I'm able to use them more fluently. Okay, so the next thing that I did to really improve my tactics, actually, I've been doing this for a while, but key is to learn from your mistakes. Whenever you get a tactics problem wrong, or even if you get one right, but you're not quite sure why all the tactics work, you need to go back and look at it and see what happens. So here's my process. I'm going to show you real quick. And if you're interested in learning more about what I'm doing here, you can look You can let me know and maybe I'll make a different video about it. But what I do is I go back to the problem and I download it. Okay. And I'm going to copy it here. And then what I'm going to do is open up my chess program, set this up here, and here it is. Now with chess.com, you need to move it forward, get to the um, problem. So here is the problem position here, and it is a problem for white. And so I got this incorrect. And what I do is I will analyze it and try to understand the move. And then the next step, which I'll show you here, and I won't go into the whole thing, but I go over to chessable.com. And once I've understood the solution and gone over it, I will analyze it and annotate it, and then I will import it into one of my books so that I review it. Okay, I don't always put the whole problem in because maybe there's only one aspect of the problem that I needed to understand, and then and I guess I could show you what I'm. So I have a little section here called tactics, and I have all these problems that I've done before. So let me just show you one. Here is one here, and you can see I originally got this problem wrong, and now I know the solution, and so I can go ahead and show that to you. So that wasn't the whole problem when I originally solved it, but it was the key moves that I didn't understand at the time. But now I understand, and now I'm reviewing it through the Chessable algorithm. Okay, so that knowledge is locked into my mind. So learn from your mistakes. This is perhaps actually all these. I think all these tips are important, but this is a very important one. If you're not doing, make sure you're analyzing the problems that you got wrong and understand why you got it wrong. Okay, the next step is an important one also. That is to balance quality versus quantity. And this kind of relates with some of the other tips I've given in this video. You want to make sure you're doing enough. If you only do one tactics problem a day, well, maybe you shouldn't expect to improve so quickly. If you're doing 100, but you're not studying from your mistakes, or you're getting them all wrong because you're doing them while you're watching a movie, then the benefits of doing those problems maybe is not uh, beneficial as well. So I'm not going to give you a specific number because I think it is very individualized based on the time you have for chess and the time uh, your other needs even within chess. Maybe you need to be studying tactics. Maybe 10 problems a day is enough because you need to spend the other time analyzing master games or studying the um, for myself, for example, I do 5 problems on chess.com. I probably do between 5 and 10 problems in one of my Chessable ebooks, like the Woodpecker method. I probably do about 10 problems a day on that. Plus, now remember, because I use Chessable, it reviews problems on a regular basis. So I'm probably doing another 10 to 15 tactics problems, although I'm not solving those for the first time. So I'm probably doing about 10, 15 new problems a day, which some of you may think, oh, that's not very much, but um, because I'm analyzing the problems that I get wrong or the ones I get right that I don't fully understand, because I'm maybe doing, because of work and my 3 children that I mentioned earlier, I'm maybe doing 15 minutes, so I'm maybe doing 5 problems here. I'm doing 5 problems later. I can't sit down. I don't have much time to sit down for an hour and do a tactics session. Occasionally I do, but not very often. So you want to balance quality and quantity. Okay, the final tip I'm going to share with you today is to make being a good tactician a part of your chess identity. Okay, a lot of times when you think about yourself as a player, you think, oh, well, I'm good at the Sicilian, or I'm good at the end game. I want you to, and this may seem a little silly, but I want you to start thinking of yourself as a master tactician. a monster at tactics. Okay, whatever it is that gets you motivated, because a couple reasons why it's part of that mindset. When you think of yourself as a good tactician, you will do the things that help you to build that identity. You'll practice tactics on a very basic level. You'll take that extra step to make sure you're calculating the lines through. Okay, you'll when you're in games, you're going to look at things. You're not going to be so casual about the tactical aspect. So think about how you feel about, or how you identify yourself as a tactician. Maybe if you think to yourself, "Oh, I'm not a very good tactician," maybe you need to change that mindset. Now, uh, if it's too hard to think of yourself as a master tactician, think of yourself as an improving tactician. You know, every day that I do tactics, I am getting better. Okay, I'm not a master yet, but I am improving, and I'm moving towards that. So think of that. Think of your identity. It is related to your mindset, but the more you think that way, you'll be surprised at the more you'll act the way that you identify yourself. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it helpful. If See if there's just one or two things that you want to apply to your tactics training in 2019. Let me know in the comments what you found to be the most helpful tip today. And if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. Better Chess Training is about helping you to improve your chess. So if that's something you're looking to do, would love to have you as a subscriber. Also, wanted to thank my patrons. Thank you for support. I really appreciate it. And if you are not yet a patron, you can check out my Patreon page uh, in the link in the description. Of course, it is optional, but any support is helpful, and I do really appreciate it and really try to help my patrons to improve their chess as well as all my viewers. Check that out and see if that's something for you. And finally, I was going to do a special video for this, but I'm not sure if I'll have time to do that. I just wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, wonderful New Year. My next video will be, I believe, in 2019. So, with that in mind, I hope you had a great year in your life and with chess, and looking forward to a great 2019. With regard to your chess, if there's anything you'd like to see on this channel, definitely let me know, and we'll see what we can do. Okay? Merry Christmas, and see you in 2019.